Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in history, March 3rd. The day on the calendar that looks harmless. It's got mild Thursday energy. A date that sounds like it should be about a coupon for a sub sandwich. But no, March 3rd is one of those days where history shows up like, hey, you got a minute? And then immediately throws a chair through your living room window. Because March 3rd is the anniversary of emperors getting installed like a software update nobody asked for. Treaties that redraw whole continents like a toddler with a marker. The government deciding what you can't mail to your friends. A man escaping jail with a wooden gun. Indiana, we'll get to you. And also NASA being like, what if we tried to park a car on the moon and also mail a postcard to aliens? It's a date that keeps asking the same question in different accents. Who gets power? Who loses it? And what do we do when reality changes faster than our institutions can pretend they're fine? Segment 1, the empire is a costume party. Let's start in the glamorous era of Rome, which is really just politics with better columns. March 3rd, 473. A Germanic strongman named Gundobad, already a name that sounds like a medieval DoorDash driver, decides to nominate a new Western Roman emperor, Glycerius. Now, if you're hearing Western Roman emperor and thinking, oh wow, prestigious, just know that by 473, that title was basically a Halloween costume. The emperor wasn't running the empire. He was the little plastic steering wheel in the back seat that makes you think you're driving. The real power was the military guy in front saying, oh yeah, you're doing great, buddy, while he controls the entire car. And the funniest part, in a bleak way, is how normal this becomes. This isn't even a scandal. This is just the system. Like when your office announces, we've hired a new CEO, and everyone knows the board really hired the vibe. Gundobad installs Glycerius, and the message is clear. The empire is still here, technically, like an email address that exists even after the person got fired. Fast forward to March 3rd, 537, and the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, shows up like, we're still doing Rome, but with better management. General Belisarius is defending Rome against the Ostrogoths. He's outnumbered. He's stuck. He's holding a city that keeps changing hands like a group project nobody wants. And then he pulls off this tactical moment at the Milvian Bridge. That's basically, wait for the enemy to cross halfway, then hit them when they're trapped. It's brutal. It's effective. It's ancient warfare's version of unfollowing someone the second they post an engagement photo. What I hate about this is the underlying logic. Empires don't collapse when they lose one battle. They collapse when their systems become so hollow that power moves to whoever has the most swords and the least patience. On March 3rd, you can literally watch the baton pass from institutions to strongmen, and then from strongmen to strategists. And the whole time, regular people are just trying to not drown in the Tiber. And here's the modern comparison. The more the title becomes symbolic, the more dangerous the person behind the symbol becomes. When the crown is just a prop, the guy holding it is always holding something else. Segment 2. Borders are just suggestions until someone signs a paper. March 3rd is also the day treaties show up and start relabeling entire regions like they're rearranging furniture. Let's jump to March 3rd, 1878, the Treaty of San Stefano. Russia beats the Ottoman Empire in a war, and suddenly the Balkans get redrawn. Bulgaria gets reestablished as a principality. Serbia, Montenegro, Romania get recognized. Everybody's getting a new national identity like it's a rewards program. But then it turns into that classic European diplomatic move. This is great, unless it benefits you. Because the treaty creates a big Bulgaria. Too big, says Britain and Austria-Hungary, because a big Bulgaria means Russian influence. And Russian influence means everyone else's empire feels insecure, which is the most relatable thing about imperial politics. It's all just insecurity wearing medals. So the treaty gets revised later. March 3rd gives you the emotional high of Liberation Day, and then immediately the come down of Congress of Berlin, where the adults come in and say, okay, we're putting some of these toys back. Now, March 3rd, 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. This is where history stops being a chess game and becomes a hostage negotiation. Russia's in World War I. It collapses internally. The Bolsheviks seize power, and Lenin needs out of the war like a guy trying to leave a party where the cops are already outside. Germany launches an offensive, and Russia basically has nothing to stop them. So Lenin signs a treaty that gives up massive territory. Finland, the Baltics, parts of Poland, Ukraine, millions of people, industry, resources. It's like agreeing to pay the ransom with your entire house, your car, and also your future. And the irony is, the treaty is both a catastrophe and a necessity. Lenin is trading land for time. He's buying breathing room for a revolution that can't survive if it's fighting a modern army with a broken country. That's the tension, ideals versus survival. Do we stick to principle, or do we live long enough to have principles later? Here's the modern comparison. It's the political version of when your phone is at 1% and you finally admit, okay, fine, I'll turn on low power mode. Except the phone is a nation, and low power mode is giving away a third of your population. And the meta observation is this: treaties are often treated like endings. They're not endings, they're receipts. They show you what price someone paid in fear. And on March 3rd, the receipts are long and the ink is still wet. Segment 3. America builds a country and also builds a control panel. Now let's bring it home. March 3rd in the United States is a weird blend of nation building and nation lecturing. Like the government is both constructing the house and posting rules on the fridge. March 3rd, 1776. The U.S. Marines conduct their first amphibious landing at the Battle of Nassau, trying to grab gunpowder. This is the founding energy of America. We have a dream, and also we're out of supplies. The revolution is not just lofty ideals. It's a constant scavenger hunt where your prize is survival. Then, March 3rd, 1791, Congress creates the U.S. Mint. This is one of those quietly massive moments, because a country can't just be a flag and a vibe. It needs standard money. You can't build a republic on a pile of random coins and Iowas like you're running a fantasy football league. The mint is the government saying, we are real, we are sovereign, we decide what a dollar is. Which sounds boring until you realize that money is basically social trust pressed into metal. And if you can't define it, someone else will. Indiana is admitted as a state in December 1816. But on March 3, 1817, Congress passes the act to make sure federal laws are properly executed there. This is the part nobody puts on a mug. This is statehood's paperwork phase. It's like you got married, but you still have to go to the DMV and change your name. And the DMV is Congress, and the line is 19 months long, and the clerk hates you. But it matters because it's how the country expands, not just with settlers and slogans, but with legal infrastructure, courts, enforcement, administration, the boring stuff that actually makes the thing run. And then March the 3rd keeps showing up like a bureaucratic doorway. Florida becomes a state on March 3rd, 1845. Minnesota Territory gets created March 3rd, 1849. This is America doing manifest destiny like it's scheduling meetings. Okay, Tuesday at 2, we're adding a state. Bring snacks. Now, here's the irony pivot. All this expansion is wrapped in freedom talk, while the country is also balancing slavery like it's a political budget. Every new territory is not just geography, it's power math. How many senators? Which side wins? It's the same story with different stakes. Who counts as fully human in the system, and who is treated like a resource? Segment 4. The government discovers the mail and immediately panics. March 3rd, 1873. The Comstock Law. This is where America decides it wants to regulate morality through the Postal Service. Because nothing says land of the free like federal agents going, open the envelope. Let's see if this is sinful. The Comstock law makes it illegal to send obscene materials through the mail. And in practice, it becomes a tool to restrict contraception information and anything related to reproductive autonomy. Let's do the analytical ramp. This is not just prudishness, it's power. Controlling information is controlling bodies. If you can define what people are allowed to know, you can shape what choices they're allowed to make. That's not morality, that's governance by limitation. Now, the irony pivot is the method, the mail. The system designed to connect the nation becomes the system used to police it. It's like the internet being invented to share knowledge and then immediately turning into a place where your aunt posts a conspiracy about oat milk. And the tension to release beat is imagining Anthony Comstock, the moral crusader behind it, standing in a post office like a bouncer at a nightclub. Not tonight, ma'am. That pamphlet has shoulders. But the modern comparison is dead serious. We still do this. We still argue about what information should be accessible, what counts as harmful, what should be restricted for the public good, and who gets to decide. Technology changes. The impulse stays. And here's the subtle meta-observation. The state loves to present censorship as protection. That's the genius of it. It sounds gentle. It sounds parental. But it's a lock. And locks always have keys. And keys are always held by someone. Segment 5, March 3rd, the day cameras start winning arguments. March 3rd, 1991. Rodney King is beaten by LAPD officers after a traffic pursuit in Los Angeles. And the key historical shift isn't just the violence. Sadly, police violence existed long before that. The shift is that a civilian, George Holliday, films it. A camcorder. A clunky piece of technology that suddenly becomes the most powerful witness in the room. Analytical ramp. For decades, accountability depended on institutions investigating themselves, which is like asking a magic trick to reveal how it works because you said, please. The tape changes the structure of belief. It forces the public to see what many communities already knew. The irony pivot is that the camera doesn't create the injustice. It just makes it undeniable to people who are allowed the luxury of denial. That's the part nobody likes to admit. I didn't know is sometimes just, I didn't have to know. The tension to release beat, if we can call it that, is how quickly institutions react when the narrative is no longer theirs. Suddenly there are charges, statements, controlled press conferences. The system moves fast when the evidence moves faster. Modern comparison. This is the ancestor of the smartphone era. Body cams, dash cams, viral videos. The whole modern dynamic where accountability is now partly a function of bandwidth and attention, which is also terrifying because it means justice competes with the algorithm. Congratulations, your civil rights violation is trending, but it's up against a celebrity divorce. And the meta-observation is brutal. We didn't evolve into a more moral society overnight. We evolved into a more documented one. And documentation is not justice. Documentation is leverage. It's a tool. And tools can build or they can bludgeon, depending on who's holding them. March 3rd is the day history starts getting filmed from the balcony, and the rest of the country is forced to look up. In conclusion, March 3rd is not a single theme. It's a collision of themes. It's emperors chosen by muscle, borders chosen by ink, laws chosen by fear, accountability chosen by footage, myth chosen by desperation, and progress chosen by obsessive preparation. It's the day that reminds you history isn't a neat timeline. It's a pile of overlapping systems, power, technology, morality, survival, all competing to define what normal will mean next.